Esta reunión ya está en transmisión, ¿ok? Nunca tengo esto claro, pero si estamos en lo correcto, ya estamos transmitiendo. El motivo del podcast de esta noche, vamos a hablar de superhéroes. ¿Y cuál es la influencia que un superhéroe o que las películas de superhéroes y todas estas historias que vemos cada año, de qué forma esto influencia a nuestros niños? ¿Estamos de acuerdo? ¿Tenemos alguna especie de protocolo o algún tipo de operar a la hora de hacer que nuestros niños vean este tipo de películas? Les estamos explicando a los niños que lo que están viendo no es realmente real, sino que es pura ficción. Les estamos diciendo a nuestros niños de que lo que están viendo es meramente la creación de una persona igual que ellos y no es nada que se pueda asociar con la realidad. Como, a ver, habiendo sido un fanático de superhéroes por mucho tiempo, este es el material del que vamos a hablar hoy. Y básicamente vamos a hablar de la influencia que traen los superhéroes en nuestros niños, ¿ok? Are you ready? Three. A partir después de la cuenta de tres, vamos a partir con solamente inglés. Three, two, one, go. Okay, everyone, how you doing tonight? I hope you're having a great Friday night, evening today. It's the 25th, 26th. I'm not really sure. Tonight of April. 27, 26th of April. It's one day before our Chilean police forces, as we call Carabineros Day. And today we're going to speak about superheroes, okay? Um, what is the influence that superheroes could have in our self? How do you think superheroes influence our young people? And how do you think superheroes, or most especially, how do you think children are influenced by these sort of movies that they watch every year? If you think about it, every year we have more and more. And I don't think we've been careful enough to instruct our children what's the material they have been exposed, especially as parents. I don't think we're aware of the influence these ones have on children. So, to continue today, we're going to go on to a presentation as we usually do. And here we go. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so um, if a story featuring a superhero fighting a villain is not handled carefully, it could potentially have several negative impact on our children. Okay, so here's a picture of what are the most popular superheroes in our society these days. I don't need I need to name them because we all know who they are. So we go on to the next slide. Risk of imitating dangerous behavior. So you see, when our children or our young people watch these films, they think they can do these things. And we don't necessarily tell our children to prepare. Hey, watch out with what you're doing because you might not be able to pull this stunt off. These people, a lot of the times, who do these things in movies are professional. And more often than not, it's just a CGI, which means a green screen behind them. Some children might try to imitate the actions of their super favorite superheroes, including dangerous stunts or fighting techniques without understanding the risk involved. This can lead to accidents or injuries. Stereotypical gender roles. Superhero movies often portray stereotypical gender roles, with a male superhero typically depicted as strong and powerful, while female superheroes are often portrayed as a secondary character or hypersexualized. This can reinforce gender stereotypes and contribute to the development of unrealistic bodies, image expectations. Yes, you see, they give us this superhero with They make us think that the men are the most powerful ones, which sometimes they are not. They make us think that they hypersexualize women, and it's not always like that. Sometimes they make men to look weak, which is not always either. And sometimes they make women to be the strongest, which is not always the case either. Distorted perception of reality. You see, these superheroes sometimes they appear to have so much money. They seem to have so much wealth, and that they make us think differently. And this could bring a frustration against our children. Why Batman has this house and I don't? Why Iron Man drive this car and me or my father doesn't? These questions can come up to your head and they can lower your self-esteem. I'm not saying being rich is bad or good. It's just is. And anybody can be rich for sure, but it will not be watching movies. It will be doing the work that needs to be done. Superhero movies often depict fantastical worlds and scenarios that are far removed from reality. Excessive exposure to these unrealistic portrayals can blur the lines between fantasy and reality, leading children to have distorted perception of real world issues and solutions. See, Iron Man, he was a weapon creator, yeah? Overemphasize on vigilante justice. See, vigilantes they call people who decided to go off the law and take Tristan. Vigilantes are, sorry about that, was my son talking a little bit loud. And if it gets too loud, you might be able to hear it. Um, so vigilantes are people who go off the law to take their own to take the law by their own hands and try to make a difference. Sure, as good as it might sound, it's not correct. We do have people to take care of criminals and justice. We can't do that. We will become a criminal if we did this, you know? Many superhero movies glorify vigilantism and the idea of taking justice into one's own hand. This can undermine children's understanding of the importance of following legal and ethical principles in resolving conflict and addressing social issues. Fear and anxiety. You see, I took this image of the movie Morbius. When you look at them, you think about it, it's like, do superheroes or villains have to look this bad? I don't think so. Why are we trying to scare our children through movies? Some superhero movies contain frightening or intense scenes that might be too overwhelming for younger children. Exposure to such content can lead to increased fear and anxiety, especially if children are unable to differentiate between fiction and reality. Consumerism and materialism. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. It's okay to have high expectations in life. It's okay to think you can make a better living. That's okay. But the way in this society we know how to have those level of wealth is by doing hard work. Superhero movies are often accompanied by extensive marketing campaigns that promote merchandise and tie in products. This can contribute to a culture of consumerism and materialism, where the children feel pressure to own the latest toys, clothing, or other merchandise associated with their favorite superhero. Reinforcement of stereotypes. This is very important. Look at this picture. This is the house of Harry Osborn in Spider Man 1. And this is Peter Parker house in the same film. So somehow, if you look at these two images, you realize that the superhero comes from a poor family and the villain comes from a wealthy family. So what do we get from this is that our hero, the one we look at, the one with the power, is poor and is fighting a billionaire. What kind of message that gives to our children, to our cognitive brain, fighting materialism or fighting the wealthy? That, my friend, I think is the wrong message for our children. The portrayal of the wealthy villains as the antagonist and the poor superhero as the protagonist could reinforce stereotypes about socioeconomic status. It might perpetuate the notion that all wealthy individuals are inherently villainous or corrupt, while all poor individuals are virtuous and heroic. This oversimplified portrayal can hinder children's understanding of complexity of social issues and contribute to divisive attitudes. Divisive. We don't want to have a divided society. Promotion of class welfare. A narrative that pits a poor superhero against a wealthy villain in a direct conflict could inadvertently promote a narrative of class warfare or resentment. It may foster a sense of hostility or animosity towards individuals of higher socioeconomic status rather than promoting understanding and cooperation across different economic backgrounds. Negative attitudes towards wealth. A depiction of a wealth as inherently negative or associated with a villainous behavior can lead to negative attitudes towards financial success and prosperity. Children might internalize the message that wealth is inherently immoral or undeserving, which can hinder their aspiration and limit their perception of opportunities for personal and societal advancement. So important, yeah? Misrepresentation of socioeconomic issues. Simplistic portrayals of poverty and wealth in the context of a superhero narrative might gloss over the complexities of socioeconomic issues. It might fail to address the systemic factors that contribute to poverty and inequity, such as structural barriers, system discrimination, and unequal access to resources and opportunities. Children might develop misguided belief about the causes of poverty and their solutions to address it. Diminish empathy and understanding. A narrative that demonizes wealthy individuals and glorifies poverty as a symbol of virtue can diminish children's empathy and understanding towards individuals from different socioeconomic backgrounds. It might foster an versus the mentality where empathy is reserved only for those who share similar economic circumstances, rather than fostering compassion and solidarity across diverse communities. Limitation of moral complexity. So you see, it talks about the moral complexity. Yeah, this is this movie is called Civil War, and this is the third episode of Captain America. Now, you might think this movie is not political, but the true story about this film talks about United Nations asking all superheroes to sign a treaty and to work for them. So what happens is that in the movie, the all superheroes that we know of split into teams. The one that follow Captain America are agree have agreed to sign the treaty, and the ones that Iron Man, sorry, the ones that follow Iron Man agreed to sign the treaty and work directed by United Nations, and the one that follow Captain America have decided not to sign and to be independent as they have been. Now, this create a conflict between them, and they have to fight each other. Now you're thinking, why a superhero movie will have to have this type of material, and why would give they bring that issue into a movie for supposed to be for young people for fun, oversimplified portrayals of good versus evil based solely on economic status can limit children's exposure to moral complexity. It might discourage critical thinking and moral reasoning, as children might perceive morality in black and white terms rather than recognizing the complexities of human behavior and motivations. Violence desensitization. This is so important. That when you look at in this scene, yeah, Hulk grabbed Loki and smashed him against the this floor over and over again. And even though it might seem like a funny scene in the film, um, after the beating, the character that is being beaten is afraid and is looking like this. And even though it looks funny, it's not funny at all. The way how can they make us somehow make us think that being aggressive and hit someone really hard, it could be a funny thing? That, my friends, is not okay. It's not correct. In this scene again, this is Thanos holding Loki from his neck and squeeze it until he dies. Do we need our children to be exposed to this type of violence? I don't think so. Again, more violence. Green Goblin is hitting Spider Man so badly. The scene was so strong to watch. I watched this movie when I was in my 20s and I found like, oh my God, do I want to see this? I don't think so. And I was already in my 20s back then. Think about teenagers, or even worse, think about children. How would they feel about someone beating their hero so badly? Here's another scene. This is Superman who died fighting with Doomsday, trying to kill Doomsday. Here we can see Spider-Man being disintegrated, like a teenage Spider-Man being disintegrated in the arms of Captain America. It's horrible, dramatic scene. Again, do we want to make children to feel these kind of emotions of a movie? Oof. Again, when I saw this one, okay, this is a wonderful film. Yeah, this is the third part of Batman, Dark Knight Rises. But in this scene, Bane breaks Batman or Bruce Wayne in half into. He lifts him up, he drop him off on his knee, and he breaks him completely. Again, so inappropriate for any age. If you're gonna tell me you're gonna watch a movie about people breaking each other, I'm not going to watch it. But if you're going to watch a superhero movie that is being so popular for everybody and so many young people want to watch it again, it's not the kind of content we want our children to watch. Okay. In this scene, um, they came to a place. This is Avengers. They have to go to one place to collect a stone to bring everybody back on time to bring things back to normal. In order to get the stone, someone's life must be sacrificed. So here's Scarlett Johansson begging her friend to let her die. There she jumps off. She let herself go to fall into the sky, into the skyscraper, into the floor, and then you see her dead body. And I wonder again, why? Why do we need? What's the message behind? Women have to sacrifice themselves to get what stone of power, or it all really makes no. That scene was so not necessary. Somebody has to give up his life to bring things back in time so everything came back to be normal. This is so wrong in so many levels. Many superhero movies contain scenes of intense violence, which can desensitize children. We already read this, didn't we? Yeah, yeah. To mitigate these potential negative impacts, it's important for storytellers to approach themes of poverty, wealth, and social justice with nuance, empathy, and sensitivity. They should strive to depict characters from diverse socioeconomic backgrounds as multi-faced individuals with their own strengths, weakness, and moral complexities. Additionally, promoting themes of empathy, cooperation, and understanding across socioeconomic divides can help foster a more inclusive and compassionate worldview among children. So you see, my point here is that if you really want, if we know every children and every youngster out there want to watch these films, myself included, I'm wearing a Batman t-shirt today for you to see how much superheroes, how cool superheroes can be, and that I like them so much. But when it comes to young people, I think it's important that we highlight all the points we talked about today, and we explain to them this is just fiction. It's not reality. It's not who you are. You are so much more, and you can be so much more. There are so many things in life you can accomplish, but not by killing anybody or by becoming a vigilante or by doing any of the things you have. Do you want to have a good body? You can have it. You can work your way out through the gym. You can eat healthy. You can do sport. Do you want to have a lot of money? Yes, you can have it. Do some work, research, understand, dedicate yourself, and be the best that you can do. Everything in life can be accomplished. But what you see in these movies is not what life is all about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I hope this podcast have served you well, and we're gonna be again next week, hopefully Friday night. Have a good evening, and I'll see you all a little